Power of Purpose. The Metamorphosis is back, and I'm truly looking forward to this because, okay, my mic muted. Let's give it a second. You know, nothing seems to work right when you're out of the studio. I'm on the phone working this right now. Let me, okay. We know that one oh so well. Nothing seems to work right when you're out of the studio, but it's not going to stop the show. I'm out here in a undisclosed location, you know, and decided to come out the house. I have not been out of the house. I've been out of the house, but you know, not outside of the property. You see what I'm saying? So I've been there for like 5 days and I haven't left. So I said, let me come on out. Yeah, no, it is. It is. But I love the solitude. I am fired up.
Oh yeah, brother.
You see the uploads that we're putting from the old channel and everything, and I have a crap.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. Nobody can.
It's making a lot of people happy, and it's breaking a lot of hearts too at the same time.
And that is the perfect way to put out your curriculum of decades of work, just like that. So that's a great way of balancing that little petty game that they play with your channel.
Exactly. Plus, this channel, this new one, is not shadow banned.
Right.
All of the how can I put it? The amenities will be coming, and I'll be able to do it the way I want to do it. Sell the shirts, everything, have the carousel. Just a couple of more subscribers to hit a certain mark. That gets unlocked. It's monetized again, which, of course, you're not making much. But the thing is, it's on that level. But the goal is not here. Oh, I'm just trying to get money because, you know, it's not that big. But it doesn't matter because this is beyond money. But it's nice to know. And the beautiful part about it is, the beautiful part about it is everything is salvageable, and I have things going back from day one. And with turning over the soil, and for the new people to see the old stuff, they'll figure out that it's old. The older stuff coming on up, the classic shows, all those times to make banners, to get the guests going, to get the shows, it has not been lost. And it's turning over new soil to new people.
Too, brother? You know something too, brother? Not to cut you. I know we press for time.
No problem, brother.
A lot of times when we do something at a certain time, we're not aware that it may not even be for that time.
Exactly.
It may be for this time.
Exactly.
And so that is what the way I see it, like these dumb counterfeit spirits, they are actually helping to open the doors to new things without, they're doing it from a evil perspective, but it's turning into manifestation. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you're right, and so much has come out of that it is so amazing that nothing was lost and so much was gained in my new life, more than what most people, because you couldn't imagine, I'll say this, you couldn't imagine who was watching all of the old work.
Right.
And once that channel was shut down, or not taken away because those videos are private, that they decided to go ahead and give me a blessing. And I'm not talking about money. You'll find, everybody will find out till the end of the year. It's going to blow minds. So everything has a purpose, and nothing's lost. Everything is gained. I have so much to look forward to.
That's great.
I'm very enthusiastic, and that's why I'm protecting it.
Yeah. Well, brother, you know, I'm always proud of you, man, because I know it's not easy when they come at us the way they do, the cyber attacks. But like you said, nature supersedes all of those weapons they have, and that's why they can't control what is released at what time. They can only delay, distort, and try to discourage you. The 3 Ds, I like to say. But what they don't comprehend and understand is that they are unwillingly or unwittingly propelling the purpose to where it's supposed to be because of the law of polarity. So they, they operate from a 90-degree angle. They're so interested in trying to hurt us as individuals for standing up and loving our people, that it just, the sad part is the majority of our people are in the caterpillar state.
You're so right, brother. That's truth. And the more and more I live, is the more and more I learn this.
Because whenever people hear purpose, they're always thinking about what that means in terms of this system that we're in. No, this is actually
big mistake to do that. That's right.
Huh?
That's a big mistake to do that, because the system is limiting and the system is a parasite. And so whatever they dangle in your face as far as, salary or amenities or gain, on the flip side, there's a way to get it back from you or not to give it to you at all. I've learned that.
Actually, what they're doing
so this is
buying your gift, your birthright. They're buying that from you. And no amount of money fiat can pay for it.
Exactly.
Just a little fake fortune and fame that they...
And they're shutting you down.
Make you think, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That these counterfeit spirits try to make you think that you're a man. Like, black folks are bad.
Exactly.
Some of the information I'm going to give today to set the show up is going to debunk a lot of this stuff that they do. So
and it's just like a short snippet that I did of a it was a 10-minute thing that I did.
Yeah. Hey, your mic is going into like a...
I need to sound like that for a little while.
Your voice.
Let's start everything off, and I'm going to mute myself. I think it's picking up some of the sound over here. There's a big fan close by. It's not near me, but it's picking up that sound. Okay. And I'm going to mute myself, and let's just roll. Just let me know when you want me to hit the banners, but I'm right here. I'm right here, sitting here, getting ready to eat, and I'm listening to every word you say.
Okay, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Brother, I'm not hearing you. I don't know if your mic is on or maybe you're talking, but
I didn't hear you at all.
Okay, no, I had stopped to mute my mic to let you start everything.
Oh, okay. You always give an introduction, my bad. Okay, brother.
Okay, no, because it's a little iffy on this side. That's why it's a little iffy on this side. That's why I kind of like just jump right into it, because I don't know if I fade in or fade out.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brother Lance, to be able to connect with you again today on Mondays. It's always, a highlight of the week. And I'm glad you're over there doing your thing there, Kibalon. And, we're keeping it pushing no matter, where we are. We grow where we're planted. So I just want to greet everybody in the sound of my voice, wherever you may be. Also, the people in the chat room. Today's subject is it's a very important subject for us to discuss. There were several reasons why I came across this title. And I know a lot of times when we talk about things like purpose and things like that, people look at it from a religious perspective, but that's not the energy we're bringing with the power of purpose today. And I want to talk about some things. Of course, you know that one of the things I want to make clear to people, because somehow this is not clear. I don't know why, but I just want to reiterate it, that the Academy of Nature, we're a Black think tank. And so the issues, any topic that we present, it's going to be from the perspective of the Black experience and the Black mind, Black culture, whatever terms make you feel comfortable. So this is not one of these caterpillar type situations where we're in here debating through hate with people using code words and all of these different things. We don't care about that. We care about getting the truth out to our people. And I just want to thank Brother Lance again for allowing the Academy to be able to touch the ears of people on continents around the world. But today, the title, The Power of Purpose, who decides it, is very important. And also the counterfeit spirits that play a major part or a major role in the antithesis of Black culture. So brother, if you could put that picture up there with the first one I told you, the mask, that would be perfect. Thank you, thank you. We first get this concept really in depth from Frantz Fanon, the Black psychiatrist Frantz Fanon, in White Skin, Black Skin, White Mask, that, you know, in our society, when we talk about purpose, power of purpose, you know, again, there's always this tendency to look towards purpose as having something to do with the system in which, you know, we operate. But in fact, again, when we're dealing with Black issues, we have to look at it from the eyes of our people in a truthful manner, and not in ways that, you know, make people feel comfortable or to stroke people's egos. Because the fact of the matter is that Black people are at war. We didn't start this war. We didn't ask for this war. But the fact of the matter is that we are in this war, and this war is not just with us here on Turtle Island. This war is global. It's in the Kibalon, it's in South America, it's in Mexico, it's here in North America, it's in Central America, it's in the Caribbean. Wherever you find our people, we see this same energy that exists towards our people. And so we're going to delve into and dispel some of the fantasies that they continue to put out to our people. And, you know, I used to wonder why, when I hear these politicians talking, when they get into this energy that they're in now with tricking people, I used to wonder why the statistics they quoted always seem to be some type of ideology or ideal thing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what is it that we're not getting here? Because certainly the reality is not what they're, you know, spewing during these political sessions. So before we get into the presentation, I wanted to go into, you know, I like to present studies. And one of the reasons for that is because they're always using these terms like woke or, CRT, all of these code words, okay, because they want to still dispel the fact that now our people, there is an awakening taking place amongst our people, but it's not because of us, it's because of the law of gestation, okay, or the law of divine timing. So as I was talking with Lance earlier about the new distribution of information is great, because some things we think is for a certain time and they're actually for another dispensation. And we're not taught that on purpose. And the counterfeit spirits always, the thing we have to really wrap our heads around is looking at the law of polarity. We know that there is an equal and opposite force, okay, which is outside any of the moral and ethical laws, such as the laws of Mayat, of balance and, righteousness, things of that nature, justice, okay. So whenever we look at the law of polarity, we know that there is an equal and opposite force, just like the law of thermodynamics tells us. And so I think this is another area in which, from a Black perspective, we fail to really comprehend. And so these counterfeit spirits, they use that against us because they know that as long as we're taught, scriptures, okay, or basically given narratives without the spirit behind it, okay, or the logos, then they know that, they can basically trick you because you're not looking at the real nature. So when you look at real nature, if you look at the picture on my left, maybe on your right, you see one of the true expressions, okay, of our soul. And then you look at the other one, I like to call it joy and pain, where there is a look of happiness, but you can't separate the two. Okay, so I wanna before we get into the presentation, and keep in mind that this is something that Frantz Fanon warned us about, that there's going to come a time when you're going to have to take off the mask and look at the reality. And then that's when you'll be able to see the counterfeit spirits that's working against you. But I want to talk about this massive new study on race and economic mobility in America. And again, the reason why I like to use studies is because if when we speak about things, even though we experience it and know it to be truth and our reality, there are always others who are downplaying the significance of that, okay? Or they'll say, we're playing the victim card. So I always look at the studies, okay, within the last 5 years to give the true picture, okay, not a false narrative. And when we talk about the true and the false self, which these pictures represent, these masks represent, if you remember Smokey Robinson's old song, which is very prevalent today. Because even in music, the songs that were made back during certain times are relevant today. That's why I like to go back and forth and compare what our mindsets were. But the one thing, before I get into this massive new study, that Frantz Fanon was spot on about is the fact that we have to sync these two experiences together in order for us to actually walk into our purpose. Okay. Now, there is a individual purpose and there is a collective purpose. Okay, and we'll talk about the two differences after we talk about this study. And the point I wanted to make is that the reason why I love to do studies and present them, because we get a true picture. For some reason, you know, I know the reason. We get a lot of our information off the edited regurgitation of information that they get. And then they hide the true essence of what is going on from us. And because we don't check it or examine it the way we should and just take it as face value, then this is the reason why we can be in the situations that I'm getting ready to read to you and not even be aware of it. And in this massive new study on race and economic mobility in America, progress and counterfeit spirits, and I want to tie that into the fact that progress is really being used in a counterfeit way to trick our people, as it always has been. But Black Americans experience dramatically lower upward mobility than white Americans, mainly due to the economic disadvantages of Black males in American society. These conclusions come from a groundbreaking study combining Census Bureau data on race with IRS tax returns, which allow economists to track individuals' earnings over many years and then tie them to their parents' earnings. Now, whoever thought of this methodology is brilliant, because that makes sense. And that's how you can get a true picture, in the sense of, because remember, there are many unemployed Black people. So, you know, we're getting as true a picture as we can get. Okay, but, you know, whoever thought of this methodology is brilliant, because the fact that the economists can track your earnings today with the earnings of your parents and possibly their parents, it really sheds light into this situation. Black and American Indian children born into upper or upper middle class families are nearly as likely to fall to the bottom fifth of the income distribution as to stay in the top fifth. Now that's an interesting statistic in itself. So that means is even if you are born into some type of financial stability in America as a Black person, or people they classify as American Indians as well, you still, okay, are going to more likely fall into the bottom fifth of the income distribution as to stay in the top 5%. That's interesting. That's something that you know, I know the answers to that. I just want to look into it a little further, because that in itself tells a huge story that goes against with the narrative that the counterfeit spirits are putting out. Okay, this in itself, this study debunks this narrative that they're trying to show about our people progressing, when at the same time, behind closed doors, they know this is a lie. Conversely, upward mobility for children born into the bottom fifth of the distribution is markedly higher among whites than among blacks or American Indian children. So let me say that again, because you may not have gotten the importance of what that part of the study is saying. It's saying that the upward mobility for children born into the bottom fifth, or the peasants and the serfs in the feudal system, which black people are in. Okay, even when you're born at the bottom of this economic ladder or class, that the distribution is markedly higher for those whites who are born in the same condition as you, because there are poor whites in this country. Okay, let's not, they hide that as well. But even amongst them, their chances of moving up to the top 5% is much higher than yours. White families continue to far outpace black families in wealth. The typical black American family is literally no closer to equal footing with its white peers in terms of income and wealth than it was 50 years ago. So for all these people that's always talking about, you know, the woke, this and that, and the victim mentality, I want to read this for you, this study that your white scholars did. Because see, I'm tired of this stuff that they continue to do with our people, and someone can go to a HBCU and sit out there and lie to our young people, and our people sit back and act as if this is true. You know, there are no more times for games. These people have already shown you their hand, and more importantly now, the messages that I'm putting out is mainly meant for the younger generation. Okay. You know, unfortunately, the people in our age range, they're comfortable with where we're at as a people because of what fiat affords you. Not saying, because I know how our people think, that, yeah, you deserve to be in that condition that you have worked hard all your life for. All I'm saying is that we have an obligation, no matter what somebody tells you, okay, to at least be concerned about the conditions of our young people, particularly when we know that this system is turned up 10 times higher, maybe higher against them than it was us, but we don't want to look at this. Okay, so I'm going to read this again for all the people that like to say that black people are always playing the victim card. Mm-hmm. But these type of statistics that need to be a bigger card than a victim card. I don't know what you would call it. But white families continue to far outpace black families in wealth. The typical black American family is literally no closer to equal footing with its white peers in terms of income and wealth than it was, get this, not 5, 10, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. We're talking about back to civil rights era. So all these clones that they have on here talking about black people this and black people that, I think you need to do your homework, okay? I think you need to. We have a better chance. That's why I don't buy into the kumbaya, because we have a better chance of equaling the playing field, not in the sense that, you know, the economic sense that we're looking at, but in ways that can at least keep our people from being buried and snowballed. And you know, that is what we're looking at right now. And we're talking about, because, you know, when you go back, beyond 50 years, okay? And that's why I have an issue with these people talking about make America great again. Okay, what exactly are you referring to? Okay, if you could show me that, then, you know, I can say, okay, that might be an angle we can look at, but not off the record that we're looking at. I don't know, because these are just 50 years. And when you go beyond 50 years, you know, during the Jim Crow and the sharecropping era, what it was like for our people. So I'm not sure, you know, what time that they're referring to, but certainly this new study was very necessary. It's almost like the Kerner report that was done back in '64. So you have two Americas, one white, one black, and, you know, unequal and unjust. The last part of the study said that the typical black household has less than 1/10 the net worth of the typical white households in both, get this, 1968, the year they assassinated Dr. King, and 2015. See, this is again why I don't get caught up into a lot of the stuff that they have our people caught up into, because we're not looking at truth. We're not. It's like these two masks, like Frantz Fanon was saying, in Black Skin, White Mask. And the counterfeit spirits, okay, you know, they know this. They're the ones that do these studies. But that was brilliant, the way that this study was done. This way, this is indisputable. To look at, you know, the income and the taxes from not only people now, but their parents. So you have a economic record that cannot be disputed. If anything, it's less than, because we know that if they say 10% of Black people are unemployed, it's really 20%. So I wanted to open up with this so that, Brother Lance, if you would put the picture of, let's see, oh, the social class picture. Yeah, the social class picture. It's, well, really, it's words. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Thank you, brother. Perfect. So now when we talk about the power of purpose and who defines your purpose, this is what we're referring to, okay? Because in America, the way our social structure is set up, the feudalism structure, the social aspect of it is set up on a social class structure, which is based on the socioeconomic status of people in a certain culture. So what is social class? Social class is a large group of people who rank close to one another in wealth and power and prestige. Okay, and it's also the determining class. It determines class ranking, and it influences people's life chances or opportunities. That's what I wanted to bring out. So the thing that we have to look at when we're talking about the power of purpose and who decides your purpose. And by the way, let me define what purpose is. It's the reason why a person was born, or why a group was born, why a organization, why something was created, what the purpose, what the reason for the creation of someone, something, or some ideology, okay? So we have a tendency when we talk about the power of the purpose of people like you and I, like those two masks, we get confused. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about based on the social class structure that we all live in is the formulation and who decides what your purpose is. If you look at the history of America, all of the things, the purpose that our great ancestors had, it was born out of the social struggles in which the economic class they were born into. Okay. And that is a reality that you cannot, and this is why what Dr. Amos Wilson talked about is so important when it comes to the education of our children, that you cannot educate Black and white children the same way. You just cannot do that. Okay. This is one of the fundamental mistakes that we as a people make. And, the other thing too is, now we're moving into the true and the false self, is it puts our children at a disadvantage from the time that they can come in contact with this system. Because remember, the people that are teaching our children when they go to these institutions, starting in first grade or kindergarten or wherever they start, don't come from the same experience that you and I come from. And this is where the true and the false self is so very, very important when it comes to educating Black children and establishing their purposes. And I want to go back to a famous study that was done by Dr. Kajufu, Dr. Kawanza, is the fourth grade. In the fourth grade, Black children, particularly Black males, Black boys, begin to, because on the standardized tests up into the fourth grade, they score in the high 90 percentiles. This is a fact from studies that were done. But the social factor or the social class strata that they are born into they become aware of this in the fourth grade. And, people have a lot of different reasons for why this happens. But you have to keep in mind, too, that the young Black mind develops at a faster pace when we're younger. And that is because the ceilings, if you watch two young kids, children, because they are not aware or indoctrinated with the hate that inevitably will happen to them. And it's something there's a lot of different things on social media. Some are good. I'm not going to say all of it is bad, okay? Some of it is good because it shows us the true picture of who we are, which is always important when we talk about the true self and the false self. But they got these two little kids, little children, and they're about, I don't even know if they're 2 years old yet. One has a big, beautiful fro, like we used to wear back in the day. And the white kid has a big, beautiful, blonde hair like that describes their culture, right? And they are so unaware of the differences. They run to each other when they see each other in the street. And I just ran across it the other day. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But the reality is, when those two children reach the fourth grade, then there's no longer this innocence that we put into them, when they're small children. And this is the reality of the true and the false self. So we start out by putting our young people at a disadvantage because they mainly have to operate from the false self. So you go back to those two masks and you see the one that's really, like crying or, feeling some type of emotional pain in a negative way on one side, but the side that's presented to the world, like Smokey Robinson's song, Tears of a Clown, is the reality of what. And so when we look at this, we have to find a way to bridge this gap, because if we don't bridge this gap, the power of their purpose will be lost. So I want to bring up this fact that the purpose of a young Black person has to be, they have to be educated on how they can make the lives of the people from their culture first better. Okay, this is a critical mistake that we continue to make. There's nothing wrong with you saying that we need to make sure that we focus on our young and ourselves, not just the young people, because not just the young people. I'm just saying that because the heat is turned up on them so high, which we don't want to look at, because these counterfeit spirits that know what's inside of them, it's their job to hold them down. Okay, this is what they do. This is what we don't get. Okay, they're not living by the Mayotan laws of truth, justice, righteousness. You know what I mean? Balance. No. When you look on that piece of paper, it says, "In God we trust." What God do you think they're talking about? So again, we have to get into the mold now moving forward. I just read you the statistics that cannot be denied by this massive new study that we're actually, I don't care what they show you on TV or say on YouTube or these other places, we're in the same condition we were 50 years ago in 1968. As hard as that is to, and a lot of white people, they fool them too. They look at our people on the internet, on TV, we always flashing. We can make stuff look good, okay? But again, when we look at the reality of the condition that these people have our people in, we have to be truthful about this. Because in any situation in life, you have to sit down and look at what your actual condition is, not what you also have to envision too where you're going. But I mean, you have to do a self-analysis first. Okay, a perfect example is the average person, well, the average male. It's much higher for women, of course. But the average male looks at themselves in the mirror at least 3 times a day, or sees some type of reflection. And Brother Lance, if you would go to the brother with the shadow moving into this, yeah, thank you. Moving into the purpose and who defines it, and we talked about the social class that actually sets the foundation for your purpose when you're looking at your life's purpose. It's from the people that you come from first, okay? But now when we begin to grow up and we move outside of that, we're going beyond the 4th grade. Now we're looking at reality, the reality of being a Black male in America. Then the things that define that, we either have to, so the true self is that shadow that you see on that wall. The individual that you see that's walking is the false self. And it's that way for Black men and Black women. Okay? It's that way for us simply because whatever defines our purpose, to some degree, we're going to have to, there's got to be some type of conforming. Okay? And that is the condition that Black men find themselves in if they want to break to the night class as far as socioeconomics in this country, is that to some extent, it doesn't matter how many times they see their reflection in the mirror, the counterfeit spirits and the vampires are going to penalize them when they exert that. And then they turn around. I look at the analysis of when the NBA players are playing, they're always going to have 3 or 4 Black guys in the media that are going to just focus on all of the bad things, the mistakes they made. These guys get enough criticism and are critiqued enough just playing the sport, okay? So when you look at the things that Black men have to face in order just to stand up and say, hey, I am a man, okay? Then we have to look at what the root causes of your purpose is. And so when I use the term the power of purpose, I'm talking about it from a whole different perspective, because the power of the purpose of a Black man can transform much of what goes on in our own communities first, our mindsets. But as long as we're told and penalized for being our true selves and not acting in the ways of the false self, then these economic statistics that I quoted to you are never going to change, no matter what people say in front of your face, or you're playing the victim card or racist card. So I guess the person that did this study is playing those cards too, I guess. This is ridiculous. There are no Black think tanks that are organized to take a serious look at so where's the Congressional Black Caucus? I remember a time, someone I went to school with who was at Morgan State, who was the head of the Congressional Black Caucus, Kwesi Mfume. Oh, they was going to bring up issues, okay? And they was dealing with what was going on. Well, he didn't have a choice, being from Baltimore, he's seeing it up close and personal. And, and this goes right into, what I mean about the power of purpose in terms of Black issues. When I was going to Morgan, we dealt with Black issues in the Black community because of people like Kwesi Mfume, who was the president of the Morgan State Student Government Association. And you know how you could see, and there were several people that you could see that they were destined for what it is that their purpose they were walking in. But that purpose, the power of it was in the struggles of our people. And I'm not apologizing for how, we were raised or even our conditions in fighting against them. Don't get me wrong. I'm simply asking the question, where are the people that used to voice our opinions about, well, we're Black people are in hell, okay? I don't know why and this is not a gloom and doom show by any means, because we know we're going to still overcome. But we cannot, so when you go to a therapist, what's the first thing they ask you? What's the first thing they look at? Like I always like to say, they look at your chart. Okay, your psychosocial history, your economic history, with your class struggles that you can. They look at all of that stuff. Your medical history. They're looking to see if it was someone that's ever been diagnosed in your family history where there's some genetic transference and transference in your biochemistry of this, of these element, these type of situations, abnormalities. They're looking at that. See, that's what happens when you try to, use big words and get caught up. But it's something that we can no longer afford to pretend and smile at the sky. I'm sure, most brothers, we have to have a positive attitude when we're going out here, because we already know the counterfeit spirits are already there waiting, okay, to use anything that they can against. This is something that every black man, black woman, and every black child beyond the 4th grade now understands and we can. So the mask, like Frantz Fanon said, the mask that we put on is basically like a war mask. Okay. And when you take that mask off, then the real things come out against you. And this is the reason why they penalize people who confront these issues righteously, okay, not religiously, because I'm not going to clap hands and sing those spiritual songs with a system or people that's in a system that is not going to look at truth when they say they rep. Those are counterfeit spirits. They can mimic. They look at your emotions. They can mimic what you do, okay, and then put it right back at you when all the time it's designed to hold you down. Okay, so the power of your purpose and what defines it, all of the elements that I've just been talking about plays a crucial role in this, okay? So now let's look at this, let's get into this a little deeper, okay? We know, like that shadow on the wall, he's not even looking at the shadow because he knows if he look at the shadow, he's looking at his real self, right? By the way, that the sun is showing him. So it don't get no better than that. Hey, brother, I'm shining this light on you so you can look at that wall and see the real you, okay? Now, your purpose is looking for you, okay? The etheric self and your purpose, they're looking for you. Always have been. Always have been looking for you. It still looks for you. This energy actually goes and finds other people to present to you. Okay. But when that happens, we are so busy fighting against each other over things that's not going. You just saw the statistics. 1968 to 2015, there is no economic change in the condition of Black people. I don't care what they show you on TV, these celebrities talking about all this. Let me tell you something. These counterfeit spirits have bamboozled our people so bad, okay, that we don't even know truth from lies. That is the condition that we're in. That is a fact. Because no one in their right mind would look at the last 50 years of what this study has just showed, okay, and still be walking like this brother walking to wherever he's going. Now, I commend him, and I commend all of our brothers that have to do this. We have to do it. Okay? And if he don't do it, I guarantee you he'll be on the corner with a sign and a can in his hand. Now, these are the realities when we're talking about the power of purpose. We're talking about the power of purpose to get Black folks out of the hell they're living in, and to prevent other generations to repeating the record that we have, not what people are telling you that you're doing. So why is your purpose looking for you? Why? The main reason it's looking for you is because you don't recognize it. Okay. If you, like they say, you know, it could slap you in the face and you still wouldn't recognize it. But why is your purpose looking for you? Because it's just not about you. Every single individual, believe it or not, has thousands, if not millions of people who their voice is supposed to reach, their energy. That's why I don't trip about no likes and no view. These counterfeit spirits do all of this. If you reach one person, then that's more than enough. Okay? But see, they play these emotional games with our people based on attention, you know, and this caterpillar mentality that they're playing with you is to keep you from having a cocoon experience. Because once you get inside that cocoon, it's over with. Now, all the transformation doesn't take place with all caterpillars. So the definition of metamorphosis is the transformation of a living organism from one state of existence to another either by natural or supernatural means. Now, that word supernatural was created from people who don't have an open pineal gland, by the way. Okay, there's nothing supernatural with you. Okay, and that's the first thing you need to comprehend. Okay, that is a misnomer. You're not, yeah, okay. Nature is supernatural. You're just not in it. But let's go back to what we were looking at, that your purpose is looking for you. But the reason why I can't find you is because of the true and the false self. See, your etheric self, your true self, and your etheric heart have been usurped. This is why you can walk and smile. Again, I commend our brothers for all the shit we have to go through and still hold your head up and walk and smile. Okay, but don't get it twisted. We're also aware of what's being done to us by those who hate us simply for being Black. Yeah, you need to ask yourself, you need to do studies on why or how can people who have taken everything, why do you still have a need to hold Black men down? Or brown men for that matter? What does that say about you? Okay. So back to the cocoon experience, the reason why they don't want you to have one and to have a metamorphosis is because in the definition of metamorphosis, we have our answer. The transition, see, you have already transitioned. Well, if you're functioning on a higher frequency and not allowing those lower vibrations that they use against us, mainly through emotional means, to hold you down or hold you back, then you've already transitioned. Once you move into the mindset of a cocoon experience, you have already transitioned, because that is the first stage. It is the transformation, okay, of a living organism, not a dead organism, a living organism. From one state of existence, the caterpillar, to another, the butterfly, or our lower and higher consciousness, either by natural or supernatural means. And I've already explained that to you. Now that's very powerful. So what happens in the cocoon, which roughly takes about 4 weeks for the transformation to happen. That's why things don't happen overnight. Get out of that mindset. Okay? Get out of that mindset. And if it happens overnight, something is wrong, because nature does not support that. Now, sure, there are things that you can put in the ground and it can spurt up within maybe 3 or 4 days. Yeah. Every seed has a different germination process and time. Okay. That's why you can't base your life on other people, because their germination period is different than yours. Some of us haven't even taken root in what we need to take root in to have the power of our purpose to manifest. Because again, we are still being taught and led by counterfeit spirits. And their goal is that you, the primordial seed, is never to regain your rightful place on this planet. That is what they're, I don't care how much you have to comprehend this, that you'll never be able to live as a white person. Okay, we just saw a perfect example of this guy, this East Indian guy, that I guess he's been walking in his false self his whole life. But again, I'm glad when things like this happen, because the only way, imagine being with someone, and many of us go through this, okay, because just because a person is black does not mean that they see things the way that we see it, okay? I got that. But for the majority of us, we have to. But imagine being with someone, investing time, energy, money, or what have you, and you find out this person is not who they say they are. In fact, they have a totally different base of how they view the world than you do. That is what you're up against, but you don't want to see this. You have a right to defend yourself, okay? You have that right. You were not created by other people. You have that right. Why do we feel like, I know the answer to this because of fiat, okay? But at the same time, we just have to look at it for what it is. That is the point I'm trying to make. But the point that I was making in this particular instance, and what we're talking about in terms of that your purpose is looking for you, that your etheric self and your etheric heart, they are trying to get your attention, is why you're uploaded all of this garbage on a constant basis every day, all day long. Why you want to know how many people like what you said and did. And I'm not saying, look, everybody likes some form of recognition. I do it too. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this cannot be the purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. It cannot be. There has to be some foundation that is planted in order for you. And now we're going to look at why you can't receive your purpose. Okay. Les, if you would change that picture right there to the next one for me. It's the children that's sitting there, and yes, okay, perfect. And we're going to stick with this because this is a very important picture. Now, as I was speaking about earlier, I commend this young sister that's sitting there. All right. But let me ask you something. What curriculum do you think that she's using? Where did the learning tools, particularly through standardized testing, and where are the items germane to that test from? That they are the things that they are learning, what is the source of that? Okay. Now, we know that just like in religion, since you didn't write the Bible that you swear by, we know that these books that they use, we know what's in them. You're not in them. Our ancestors are not in them. So the Medu Neter, the oldest language in the world that's been all over, and I'll take a sidebar here before we go into the second aspect of this. This is very critical. I want this image to sink in because this is in a public school setting. When you look at, actually it's the terminology that they use for it in English is logograms, which logo in the terminology we use here in the English language is word, right? But what type of words are they referring to with logograms? Logograms is a language of symbols and signs, the Medu Neter. And when you look at let's take the Greek scholars, that all of the information that they use in the Western world in the schools where our children are being educated. Let's use that. And the Greek Septuagint that you were taught out of in the New Testament. That Thales, okay, who is one of the first philosophers, or not, if not the first philosopher, that the Western world gives most of the credit for the ancient ideologies that we know today, or philosophies or theologies, whatever you want to call them. When in fact, Thales studied in Kemet, okay? I believe it was 22 years, or Pythagoras studied for 22 years. Thales, I think, 19 to 20 years. This is the foundation of the language that has been edited and presented back to you. It came out of you. And this is what our children don't know because you don't know it. And if you know it, you're not telling them this. Okay? Now, this is extremely, extremely, when we talk about the power of purpose and who defines it or who decides it, the counterfeit spirits are. You're not. Okay, so Thales basically got all of his from the Memphite priests in Kemet. Because when you look at the foundation of this language in terms of the way it was applied and the way it was taught, you have to look at Menenifor, or what the Greeks renamed Memphis. This is where Imhotep was from. This is where it was in the Kushite culture as well, Ptah. But when you look at, and I'm talking about foundational, I know a lot of people are going to be tripping, religious people. But what I'm saying is religion and education is intertwined. And this is what our people don't know. Okay, and where the confusion comes in at with our people. So you have to know something about where these concepts that are being used and how they've been twisted, where they originated from. They originated from your culture. Okay, so but back to this is that Ptah, who was looked at as the one, just like they have a prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, or whatever. They have a prayer for Ptah, in the sense that they reverence him. This is where this concept comes from, because Ptah was the one that spoke life into existence by his word. The creatrix, Sekhmet, was the destroyer of things. And so you see, that's why, people may not comprehend what I'm saying when I'm saying that the creatrix is the one that's going to bring the type of retribution we're going to see here in the world. That energy, that's why they're trying to destroy the feminine energy, which they can't, because, it is in nature, or is nature. So, but Ptah is the, in fact, he was the one that created the other pantheons of gods throughout that whole Kemetic line of what, their deities were. Okay, he is the one, this is where this concept came from, in terms of him being the one that speaks the word into existence. Ptah, P-T-A-H. You look it up, whatever. You have to comprehend and understand that these concepts that have been twisted came out of you. The logos came out of you. This is extremely important. Okay, this is extremely important as we move forward, because our children, when they're looking at pictures of the counterfeit spirits that they have produced to confuse them. But the reason why I wanted to talk about Ptah is because this is where Imhotep, who is known as the son of Ptah, this is where he was born, in Metaphor or Memphis. Imhotep, no matter how they demonized him in Hollywood, is the reason why the Greeks came to study in Kemet. In fact, he is the first human being that a shrine was built to worship on the planet. The Greeks called him Aesculapius, the god of medicine. So the Hippocratic Oath, Apotheosis is not the father of medicine. Imhotep was born 2,500 years before he was. Okay. But our physicians, even the black ones, are taught, they don't even know this. They are taught to take the Hippocratic Oath. My point is, all of these people studied in Kemet. Imhotep is the world's first multi-genius. And it is the concepts that which are still being used today in medicine. Okay, he had prescriptions written in stone. The stethoscope that they still use today, he created it. Okay, he was the prime minister of Zosa, the Grand Vizier. the first creator of the pyramid, the step pyramid in Saqqara. What difference in terms of the power of the purpose of our children do you think this information I'm telling you today would have on them? So you see what I'm saying? Oh, and Thales, the three, along with Socrates, that they put up as the world's thinkers that presented these concepts to the world, all studied in Kemet. You can look it up. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. So the fact that they are hiding this from the world, we ain't got nothing to do with that. It's up to us to bring this forward. Okay? So Thales, or the Thales theorem, he learned that from the Memphite priests. Pythagoras. Okay, the a squared plus b squared. This knowledge was 10,000 years old that before Pythagoras learned it there. Okay, and in fact, it was Thales that actually taught Pythagoras into going to Egypt to study. The reason why I'm saying this, and the reason why your purpose is looking for you, is because you don't know who you are. You don't know where to start looking for your purpose, your etheric spirit and your etheric heart, because the counterfeit spirits have them locked away. They got it locked away in museums. You can't see. You can't take your children to see them. They don't have them in the books. You can't show them there. But what's the answer? You have to create the books and show them. That's the answer, okay? Now, this is not that hard, okay? This is not that hard. But we have, let's face this, that there is a significant portion of our people that worship at their altars, that have turned their backs on us because of the fiat that they give them, that we have to look at, that are in these educational institutions that are working with these vampires and counterfeit spirits. So you can get mad at me all you want. I'm not here today to play no games. This is real. Just like that study. Oh, I didn't read that last part of that study. Damn. Hold on. Since they want to play games with our people. This is the last part of that study. Disturbing facts on Black opportunity. This is from one of their biggest, if not one of their top 3 think tanks. See, they have think tanks, but when we have think tanks like the Academy, they want to attack us. Or when you have a global Black network like the LANCESCURV show, they get angry. But this is from the Brookings Institute. That's why I tell you, if they want to call them playing the victim cards, these white scholars, they can. But you're damn sure not going to call me one, okay, when I'm reading from your studies and your statistics. This is from the Brookings Institute. This is the language they use, not Neil Frazier. Disturbing facts on Black opportunity. Now, what does opportunity mean? Since now we want to get in, because this coon that I heard last night got me all fired up. These people are traitors to the Black culture. I don't care what nobody say. No, but we're going to fight back. I'm tired of this. Okay, so 1/2 of Black Americans born poor will stay poor. Where the coons at? Because I want them to hear this. Since you don't want to deal with what these vampires are showing you or telling you to say against our people, 1/2 of Black Americans born poor will stay poor. I guess the Brookings Institute is using the victim card, or they're woke. I'm not sure which one it is. You tell me. There's another statistic from this study. Most Black middle-class children are downwardly mobile. So they out here, these counterfeit spirits got you talking about. I saw an advertisement with the HBCU. And again, our people have to be optimistic. I'm not saying not to be optimistic, but we also got to look at the real facts. Okay? And the real fact is that if you do make it to the night class, which our people fought valiantly to come out of the Jim Crow era to reach that class. Many of them did, okay? Before their towns were burned down, they were killed, and over 30 Black towns were put underwater. So let's stop playing these games. Most Black middle-class children are downwardly mobile. What does that tell you, What does that tell you? Got these people around here preaching scriptures to people, and I ain't trying to hear none of that from these counterfeit spirits. Black wealth barely exists. Let me read that again. And this is from the Brookings Institute, one of the foremost European Black think tanks in the world. They are saying this, not Neil Fraser or LANCESCURV, so you can get mad all you want. I don't give a damn. Black wealth barely exists. Race gaps in wealth is increasing, not decreasing. Now what? This stuff is crazy, man, the way our people have been lied to by these counterfeit spirits, and why, more importantly, why we're still acting like this is true. Our people are decreasing in terms of socioeconomics, not increasing. That's a lie. And anybody, all these lying politicians, and they will come around to you talking about, America has done this, and America, no, they haven't. Oh, yeah, no, they have, but just not for you. And so there is no quid pro quo for Black folks, because we don't demand something for something. We don't ask these folks why in their history books are our children still looking at Christopher Columbus. Why is that? Or if they're going to look at him, then they need to look at the real side of American history as well, regardless of what you say about some CRT, which is just your attempt to hide the truth from the children. I say the children have a better chance of really making a difference if you get out the way with all this hate and lies. Black schools are worse today than they were 30 years ago. Let me say that again, because some of y'all are living in some kind of goddamn illusion. From what I'm seeing on YouTube, and they got the nerve. We ain't got time to be arguing with each other over this stupid stuff, man. Black schools are worse today than they were 30 years ago. You can go look up the study yourself. Okay, it's called, it's Massive New Study on Race and Economic Mobility in America. When these counterfeit spirits are lying to you and telling you all this garbage, and you ain't doing or saying nothing about it. Okay, so when we look at this picture here, and you look at our innocent babies, they don't know nothing about no hate. They don't know nothing about, these counterfeit spirits have lied to them about the real spirit that's in America towards them. When they get to the 4th grade, they ain't gonna be living in hell. You can sit around here all you want and quote scriptures to them. Okay, so let's look at why you're not able to connect with your etheric self and etheric heart, and why your purpose is looking for you. Let's look at that. It's because you don't see, or you're not connected to your North Star, or what they call Polaris. Now, the North Star, what makes that so valuable to us here on the planet, why the Creator thought enough, loved us enough, and thought enough for us to have not just a guide in the physical realm, but also in the psychological and the spiritual realm. Let's look at some things about the North Star. It never moves. Okay? But false North Stars are always presented to you. The one thing you know about the North Star, about nature, and we know about the Supreme Source, is that it's not going to be a situation where, let me stop using that word there, because it's not that, how we interpret it, what you've been taught. But it's always going to be there, the North Star. But the reason why you don't want to look at our North Star, the North Star for Black folks is different. Okay? And the socioeconomic strata and every other strata you want to look at. This is what we don't want to look at, our North Star. Because that's where your power of purpose is. And our babies you're looking at, the reality is, unless they identify their North Star, they are not going to benefit from what has been put inside of them and what they are facing, what they will be facing. Okay. Now, also, the North Star is the closest star it's directly above the Earth's rotational axis. And that in itself tells you that the Earth rotates around the sun. You are a sun. You're a sun people. Okay. And the North Star is directly above where the rotational axis takes place on the planet. See, these are the things that nature teaches us, that we have been miseducated by this artificial system. So when we say nature is our greatest teacher, and people always say, well, why does he always say that? It's because when we look to nature, this gives us all of our answers. Not you living according to what these counterfeit spirits have taught you. Because we know that outside of the word, of the logos, is the spirit of it. Okay? They have separated those elements from you. Where there was a time where a Black person, their word, you could count on it. But now you're just like the counterfeit spirits. You don't know. Now, I'm not saying there are times when you can't always keep your word. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this full-blown deception and manipulation that they have some of our people practicing. So yeah, when we rightfully identify our North Star individually first, and then collectively as a culture, then we can move towards the power of our purpose. Then you see the synchronicity of our etheric heart, our etheric body too. Okay, you see our true selves emerging. And then you begin to see some manifestations in your favor. Because nothing has moved. You see that from 1968 to 2015, nothing is moving. I don't care what these people are telling you, nothing is moving. And how many presidents have we had, or potential presidents, that came to our community during these 50 years telling us something different? Think about it. When this has their own people, the Brookings Institute, one of their most prestigious white think tanks, have debunked them. That's very important. Okay, so now that we've gotten all of this out, we can focus on the issues of Black people and teaching our children at home. Our purpose has to be something greater than ourselves, okay? And with this purpose comes voluntary self-sacrifice. Now, this is where, you know, and I get it, our people get worn down on purpose. You know, again, today, I'm here to uplift our people and praise our people. But we have to talk about this stuff. Our people are very resilient. We've been drawn back into a 90-degree way of seeing the world by others who benefit from that system. But now you have to start thinking, and this is where I have a problem with the way that we're teaching our young people when you see them on TV and on these videos throwing up this money in the air and attacking each other. No, 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 no. No, no, no. And why are you, and I want to talk to older Black folks now. Why are we sanctioning? You know, the biggest difference between, now I'm not saying the young people should use their, my own son's doing very well as a music producer. He's always loved the music, but his message is strictly towards the ills in our community there in Baltimore, and also in, you know, with the children. You know, we're not saying we want to change our young people. We're saying that along with this stuff you're doing, just make sure you understand and comprehend what's your purpose. And your purpose is connected to your genetic memory bank. I don't care what you know, yeah, these people that they put on here talking about, well, you don't owe anybody anything. I got mine, you know, you get yours, really? Okay. Just like these people that's coming here, these Black folks that come here from other countries, till they in America for a couple of years. And you see, it's not that Black people hate. You know, there are some Black people that and I'm starting to listen to this feud more. That a friend of mine asked me to listen to it. The thing we have to realize is melanated people are connected all over the world. Okay, we have different cultures, you have different heritages. But now, are you this stupid where you can let these counterfeit spirits make you think that you and other Black people from other parts of the planet are not connected? Really? Man, this is ridiculous, honestly. But we have to, in order for us to have a power of purpose, and our young people right here, who we know they're basically being educated to maintain a system that will ultimately fail them. These babies you're looking at right now, I don't want to speak no death or the tree of death over their lives. I'm saying standing back and looking at this system, what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing taught us, and looking at this system, they're at a disadvantage, okay? Because even if nobody ever say this to them, the fact that they see this, and when they walk down the halls, they don't see no pictures of their people. When they look in the books, they don't see it. This sends a subconscious message to them and their archetypes that they are inferior. I don't care what you say, this is what they get. And this is what they're doing to our children in special education. Do you know that there are more black males that are put in special education than any other division of education? And then they put I remember I was working at a middle school in DC. It was a pilot school that they wanted to put all of the children that were in special ed and that were on Ritalin and whatever else they was taking in this one school. Man, let me tell you something. These people they experiment on our children in all kind of ways you can't even imagine. And that was back in the 90s that I'm talking about. So, you know, it comes a point where we have to face this beast right head on. That's why I like to look at the channels with the Animal Channel in the wild. You got people with animalistic nature coming at you for your blood and your melanin, and you trying to act like with the guy we saw walking, smiling with the sun clearly showing his shadow, refuse to look at. We can no longer do this. We can't afford to do this. And our North Star, okay, we have to teach our children to look at that. Our North Star. I actually think that this latest study that was done, this 50-year study, I don't think it don't tell the whole story. See, the other thing, and again, I want to go on record saying this, I have to give credit to white men or white women that have the courage to do this, because these vampires turn against them. I've seen it. The ones I got information from, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to focus on our issues, regardless to who. If it offends you, then that's just too bad, because nobody's doing nothing about it. But things are going to be worse now with this artificial intelligence, because as we talked about the digital discrimination, they don't even have to look you in the face no more. They can discriminate against you remotely. And you want, as a matter of fact, they have created the software, the bots and the algorithms. Now imagine they don't operate off emotion. Imagine a weapon being targeted towards you and our children that don't even have any emotion. See, these are the things that our people don't want to think about and talk about. And like I say all the time, they can get mad at me all they want, because I already know what they're doing to try to shut the academy down, which you're not. Okay, because I can go on the street corner and put out the word, if you shut me down on your devices or however you want to do it. Okay. So until we identify our North Star, which hasn't moved in the 500 years we've been here in this country in terms of under this system. So you can call it victim card. We got the records. In fact, we're going to look at the Brookings Institute, if you don't believe me, at your own records. But the thing that comes with our walking into our purpose and our North Star, okay, is voluntary self-sacrifice. Now, and that requires you looking like Brother Lance, will always give him his props, his due props, is imagine if Lance didn't think about something greater than himself, just him and Mrs. Scurv just living their best life with it, which they deserve and have created. Imagine that. So these are the things that we're so busy spewing hate that these vampires have taught us, that you don't even look at what you call, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. Yeah, I agree, you are. But you act like you're lowly favored. So even this lexicon that we've been taught, we need to get rid of that. But the point I want to make with this before I move on to the last 2 points is that our purpose, okay, has to be something greater than ourselves, because really, because of the law of correspondence, it's in us, so we got to put it out. Okay, it's in us, and it's also outside of us. So when they both witness to each other, that's when you get that the electromagnetic energy from it. Okay, but it also has to be a voluntary self-sacrifice. Now, you sacrifice things every day, and you don't even realize it. Your time, all the money that you're using, consuming stuff. Okay, you sacrifice stuff every day and don't even realize it. So there has to be some form of voluntary self-sacrifice. There's certain things that, you know, you have to look at yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to get that at the same time I'm fighting this war. That ain't, because the people I'm fighting against, they're going to make sure I don't get it. And I'm fine with that. You know, I've taught myself to live naturally. I'm fine with that. I don't need the attention that they have our people by uploading all this garbage. I don't need that. I'm perfectly fine by going and talking to a tree, or sitting out by the water bank, or going on my long walks. I'm perfectly fine with that life. But your life becomes meaningless when you only live to please yourself. And see, this is where these counterfeit spirits have you. Everything is about your own desires and living to please yourself, that you don't see nothing else. But they're getting ready to put the hammer on black folks. If you continue not getting ready to, they are. The nail is halfway in the coffin. But the one thing they don't talk about in Voodoo is them folks came back from the supposedly dead, okay? I give them credit for that. Some of them they buried alive. And you can apply that to our people when they burying these people, when they're on this puffer fish potent stuff. Okay, when that powder hit their ass and they are conscious of this. Now imagine being in a grave. This is the perfect example of what we're talking about today. Imagine being in a grave. You're conscious that you're in the grave, but you're breathing. Imagine that. That's where they have black folks. And then have now imagine the people that put you in that condition can come straight in your face and lie to you about the condition that you're in, and you believe it. So at some point we're gonna have to take the accountability for, you know, for what's really going on. But yeah, you know, your life becomes meaningless when you only live to please yourself. You may not think so, but it is. And finally, the educational system is designed to kill your purpose. And it starts here at the first grade, which you're looking at right there. And with that, Brother Lance, I'm going to close out for the day, brother.
Okay, brother. I'm rolling with you. I made it inside. Everything's safe. And boy, I'm telling you, when you said you're content to be by the water or be by a tree,
oh, yeah.
I'm content with that right now, because we have a little power outage up on the mountain. Oh, and yeah. I have not seen such darkness in my life.
Wow.
Whoa, this is, you don't get no more country than this. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And I just have to say, I went to my top balcony, right? Safe from everything is top. And I looked off and I could hear something in my yard, and it's all walled off now, but something is down there going, I'm like, I'm not going outside now. Whoa. I'm not trying to find out. I'm good where I am. So, but thank you, brother.
Did it have eyes?
No, I couldn't see it. It's black up here. There's a couple of, you know, solar lights dotting the mountain and stuff like that, and I got some here, but I'm too lazy to. I'm just here. I'm coming in to rest. I'm gonna do some stuff, you know, put up some more stuff.
I knew you have to be aware of that, because some of these shows I see about Africa, them animals ain't playing. They try
Oh
to
no,
eat.
they ain't. They're hungry. That's right. They
Oh yeah,
save you like yeah, yeah. They look at somebody's backside like Golden Corral. Trust me, I know.
like they say, a hungry dog runs the fastest.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And a man trying to get home and stay home runs even faster. That's me. So
That's right.
yeah, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm in the bed, relaxed. I'm gonna still continue my work right next to the bedside. It's the fastest work I do, and I learned a lot. And thank you.
We need that curriculum, man. You got some you've had some fascinating people on the Scurvversity over the years, and what's interesting is the thing is, brother, you on your North Star, because the message over time, no matter what it is consistently dealing with the issues in our community. And you
Thank
are
you.
to be commended for that, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, there are many who use it as a fad. There are many who use it as a way to put their name out there, to become this prophet and this person who wants to hear themselves speak. But I always say, the work speaks for itself. I don't have to say anything.
No question.
You know what I mean? And I'm just going to continue on. And I went digging in some shows from over 10 years ago, and it's a lot of work to put this stuff back up. But I found shows that I forgot that I did. I'm like, who is that? People I interviewed. I'm like, who is that? Let me listen to this. And then I remembered, and there's so many people who have passed through over the years, and it's beautiful, and I'm so thankful.
Look at all the lives that you have touched, brother.
Well, it's I'm just a plate, like a platform. It's the people that get on, that's the food that nourishes the people. I just have to be consistent and be in the plate. But I understand what you're saying, and that's why it keeps me grounded, because I never start to think that I'm the one and I need to be worshipped and all. No, it's a joy that people come around.
No,
it's just a joy to be a part of it.
You could not. I don't think someone who did not have the strength of character and mind that you have could, because it's one thing about being consistent over a long period of time. A lot of people can do things for a short period of time. But now, when you start talking about producing the type of work that you have, and I'm talking about quality work. I ain't talking about somebody just getting on here just to hear themselves talk. You're going to have days like that where you just ranting or whatever, because it takes a lot of work to put together shows. People don't know that.
Yeah, true. But it does take a lot. I love it, though,
Yeah, man, I know. Keep it coming, man, because the one thing our people need is we need to be educated the right way from our own, and I'll end on this, brother. I know you got to go, but the power of purpose.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
Power of purpose is what our purpose is about, and this is where Black people have continued to make their mistake, almost as if we're ashamed to embrace, our struggle.
I know. We undergird and support so many others so quick.
Yeah.
When it comes to us, we drag our feet and wonder why others are not coming to help us. But we nurse them to strength, and we support them. And we're very vocal about it. And then when it comes time for our own thing,
proud of it.
We start looking at each other with the side eye. We start arguing at the meetings. Let me tell you something. I was in Orlando, Florida, and it was after the what's the guy? Oh God, I'm forgetting. I've done so much. The brother who was shot in Sanford, Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
And there was a meeting that I video recorded that I know I still have deep down in the crates. So I'll come out with it. And we had all the district commissioners. We had some of the religious figures, and we had some people who just came there for the camera. And wouldn't you believe, while people were speaking, there were people not in the audience per se, because there was thousands of people around this federal building,
I was sitting up with them, but I was there for the purpose of videotaping. You know, they knew me for that, and they would have called me, come on, and they would let me get in an advantageous position, sometimes better than the news. And I had to tell people to be quiet because my mics would pick up all type of stuff that I couldn't play because they were heckling between themselves whoever was
Oh,
speaking who they
wow.
didn't like. They knew the people, and like, look at him. Well, he ain't gonna go up there and talk about how many women on the side he got, and he ain't gonna say about that girl he got pregnant. Talk about the pastor. Like, okay, we're supposed to be here to reflect something. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. And see, let me tell you something. To in Orlando, Florida, there ain't no dirt that I don't know, right? But I've never repeated stuff publicly. You know what I mean? You know, because
Orlando
there was a
sounds
gentleman.
spicy, man.
Oh man, there's a gentleman who used to use my stuff, my writings in his newspaper, and he had to drop me because he said Orange County Public Schools approached him and said, as long as you have LANCESCURV, his articles in your paper, we're not going to spend our advertising revenue on you. So he had to, you
Wow.
know, yeah, yeah. I took it as a compliment though.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
used to
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
this is before I was on YouTube. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, because we met and he liked my stuff, and I was writing a whole lot when I was writing a lot of local stuff, but it was not anything scathing or rude, but it was just too controversial for them. They
Yeah.
also had the actual news people went to his offices about some articles that I wrote.
Oh
Yo,
wow.
I've been at this for a long time, man. And even
Yeah.
when it was on a local level and stuff, I just stayed consistent. You know,
Yeah.
it's been a journey, man. Even before all of this recent stuff, you know,
No.
and from small to large, I've always been the one who was kind of like the bad boy where it's like, we got to leave him alone because
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
but I take it as a compliment. I take it as a
Oh yeah.
compliment, you
You
know?
know, something
So,
just what you're saying. I experienced. This is why I had so much. No matter what school I was teaching in, uh, I would always have an issue in terms of the curriculum, and then, so the majority of the time, they'll be like the following year, they'll have a regular teacher to replace me, right?
oh, wow.
And so if I ARE was the only school I stayed at for over a year. But the majority, once you start challenging their curriculums,
Yeah.
they ain't trying to hear it. They ain't
Yeah.
trying.
You're right.
You have to be independent in
Yeah.
order to
Yeah.
do that.
And even in cyberspace, they don't want you to even be independent without them trying to shut
Isn't
you
that
down.
something?
And that's something. See, I came into this being independent. I came into this not
Yes.
needing or not wanting. I said, I'm going to get mine from the dirt, from the ground up. You
Yeah.
understand? From where I started way back 23 years ago. I said, I'm getting this up from the ground up, from the dirt. And all I did was mind my business and draw my pictures and write my articles. When I started getting the interviews, that's when stuff started getting hot. Because realistically, it was in 2005, in the middle of 2005, that I noticed that the government was watching me from things that I said in my written articles. Could you believe
Yeah.
that? Because I worked in corrections at the time,
Yeah.
and I had access to who they would call inmates. I hate to use that word, but that's what it was.
Right.
And so that's when local law enforcement agencies like the MBI, Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation, that's about, I think now it's like up to 12 law enforcement agencies in Central Florida. They have been on me for the longest time, and it's so
Wow.
crazy, man. I'm used to
Yeah.
this. This little recent stuff doesn't phase me. I've been facing this kind of stuff for about 20 years.
Yeah, man. I know. I've been dealing with this all my life. Once you get into this professional arena, man, with these folks, man, they are serious. And no matter what profession you're in, like the profession you was in or the one that I was in,
Hmm.
they are
Hmm.
still, once they realize that you're fighting against that system and not with,
Hmm.
because this, there are a lot of brothers that they just conform. They'd be like, you know what, I got a good
Yeah.
job, you
Right.
know,
Right.
a house, got
Yeah.
a car, blah blah blah. I ain't trying to lose this.
I had one. I had one in corrections who had, you have lieutenants, corporals, sergeants, and whatever. I'll just say this: there's a corporal who would oftentimes do overtime on CO positions. You know, if they needed anybody, you could be a sergeant and work a post, and you'll still get paid your rate of pay. And so every time this one particular one would be matched with me, because when I started on the night shift, as most people do. And that's where he got his overtime. And they said, well, you know, you're gonna be working with Scurv. You're gonna be working with Scurvin. Oh, no, I can't work. I can't be associated with him. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no, and I was not talking anything during the time I worked. They all would get up on my website. I'm quiet and professional and whatever. And they were scared to work with me. And me and the other people had very intelligent conversations about all different types of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of guys didn't want to work with me, but they didn't have any problem working with the Ku Klux Klan. They had the Klan in their big time.
Hey, you know what's interesting about what you just said? I've noticed over the last maybe 4 years, really since, you know, the academy, I've noticed that most of the people that I've known in my life, they just shy away from you. Now there are certain ones that'll always be there, right? No matter what.
Granted.
But you can count them on your hand.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you can count them on your hand, bro. They
but
running
see,
like roaches when you cut on that light.
Right.
Away from you.
No, but I breathe better that way. That way. Like even right now, I'm so extremely focused, and many people think I'm like isolated, but that's a favor to me. You know, I'm blackballed from things out here in Ghana because of the people who are afraid trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fit in that way, and I love it. And see, they get mad. They get mad when you realize you actually thrive and love it that way. It's not hurting me. It's not hurting me to have a bunch of people around me sucking my energy. Leave me to myself, and I'll produce even more and play my music and enjoy myself. And I got friends, you know, and brothers like yourself and other people from way back in the day who we just have a ball. But all this, you know, this fake people that's looking for attention. That's why for me to be underground and independent is the best thing.
I agree, brother.
You know?
That my song is Curtis Mayfield, To Be Invisible.
Yeah.
That is my song.
But see, in being invisible, they still got their eyes on you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, So I move a certain way. Even when I go outside, I move a certain way. Even when I was in the United States, New York City, Orlando, or different places, I move a certain way. So you're going to have to fight hard to track me down. You know what I mean? In my movement, sometimes I'll be up all night. Sometimes I sleep all day. Sometimes I get up at 4 a.m. Sometimes I go to bed at 4 a.m. You don't never know. I'm free to do whatever I got to do. You know
what? It's funny you said, man, that's so, your life is a lot like mine in the sense that I don't have other people controlling my my schedule.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Hey, man, what time you get up in the morning? What time I'm gonna call you? What time you gonna get in tonight? I don't know. I'm gonna tell you something I don't know, because I don't live like that.
Right. There are days I might turn around and sleep all day, get up, but whenever I'm up, and sometimes I wake up out to sleep and do a little work. So people are like, man, don't you sleep?
Yeah.
Because I'm always doing it. I might get up and go to the bathroom and go hit the computer, you know, and upload some things we're working. Like I got a couple of things right now I can upload. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight or early tomorrow, but it's going up. You know, and we're gonna rapid fire do a lot. So I'm looking forward to it big time, brother. I'm so glad in fighting this war and in these weekly battles in which we knock down ignorance and oppression, that you're on my side and I'm on your side.
No
that's
question.
all I need. Yeah,
we in
that's
that
right.
same dark alley together.
Exactly.
All right, brother.
Get your rest. Get your rest, brother. Thank you so much.
Sir. You take care of yourself, man.
Oh, most definitely. I'm just not going to go in that backyard to find out what that thing is growling back there. So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out how did they get in the yard, whatever it may be. You know?
Right,
anyway,
how to get it out.
I'll find out tomorrow. Daylight comes.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Have a good night. All right, much love, brother. Thank you so much. All right, peace.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.